Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. This is Rat Pack Fantasy Football. You turn your volume down, Jeremy?
It wasn't as bad. Maybe my volume was down already. I was like, I don't really need to hear what the fuck this guy's
I'm just turning it into a running joke. I know half the time I'm going to hear, shit, I didn't turn my volume down. But I'm like, we'll see if his volume's down. So, all right, guys, we are here for NFL Week 4. We're doing some game previews. We have the AFC home games. They are some decent games. We have no Chicago Bears, Denver Broncos game. I want to make an apology. Yesterday, I compared the Denver Broncos and Chicago Bears game to a dumpster fire, and I got some complaints. So I want to apologize to all the dumpster fires I offended out there.
Yeah,
I know comparing to that game was inappropriate, but I apologize.
Listen, your team sucks. I'm sorry. I hate to break to you guys, but your teams are trash. So, it is what it is. I'll take the blame for it. They suck. It's just, you gotta live with it.
I posted saying, so I forget what it was the other day, some shit talk about Justin Fields because I hate Ohio State and Ohio State players. But so I posted, I'm sitting there going, man, I'm going to get so much shit talk back from the Bears fans. Nope, they pretty much universally agreed with me. I don't think I had one negative. I think I had one guy say, oh, way to take a victory lap 3 games in. I'm like, wait, isn't this his 3rd year? I'm like, haven't we been doing this on and off for 3 years? So, yeah.
Tears. I'm laughing tears of pain and sorrow.
my former QB1, it's going very well. Let me tell you.
I traded him away for 2 first-round picks, and I regretted it all offseason as I seen how high people were on him. And then I found out that the 2 first-round picks have turned into C.J. Stroud, and I can't remember if it's Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison, but it worked out for me in the end.
People take Stroud straight up over him now, so it's already a massive.
I turned down Fields straight up for Stroud. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Wow.
I know this isn't gonna last for CJ Stroud what they're currently doing, but he still is, like I said, more accurate. But anyways, we've completely sidetracked and we're talking.
Wait. Let's keep sidetracking because I've been thinking about this question all week. Who do you think is the better long-term fantasy prospects, Justin Fields or Trey Lance?
I mean,
Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, at least he's been a starter, so we've seen that. And Lance, who knows what
we've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, their teams are willing to at least.
Fair question.
Yeah.
Fair question. Long-term dynasty, who is a better fantasy asset? Justin Fields, Jeremy Shulman. Trey Lance, Jesse Moeller. Okay, now we're in fair comparisons.
All right. Rough scene for Trey Lance, man, let me tell you.
All right, I guess as you see, we have Jeremy and Jesse here today. Let's get into it. Our first game is the London game. We have Falcons at Jags, I guess if you want to call it that. Their home game in, Wembley, this one? London?
Yeah.
Yep. I believe I seen, despite it's their home game, they're 1-4 there, and they've lost their last 3. They are favored by 3. It's a 9:30 start for East Coast time. Even earlier, it's 6:30 for you, Jesse. So remember to set your lineups in case we have a repeat of the Alvin Kamara situation. I know I'm putting out disclaimers today in my leagues. Set your lineups because it's not my problem. I'm not fixing it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. We're all adults. I'm not a babysitter. So, all right. I guess we're going to start off with the quarterbacks. We have Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't looked great, but I'm pretty sure he's still a must start. And Desmond Ridder, he is a must bench. He looks absolutely god-awful. Where do you rank these guys? I'm going to look up the matchups here. Ridder, it's a top 6 matchup. I don't give a shit. And Trevor Lawrence, it's middle of the pack. So, what do you think about these two?
I mean, I don't want to play Ridder. If I have any option other than Ridder, I will happily choose them. I get it. He's just been terrible, so I really do not want to play him. Superflex, you could throw him as a QB2. It just depends how desperate you are at the quarterback position. But if you're rolling with him as your QB2, you're probably pretty desperate as it is. So there's that. Lawrence has just been super unlucky. There's been a lot of touchdown missed opportunities. And if you look at his PFF grades and stuff, they've been off the charts. So he's been really good this year. He's just been unfortunate. So I expect that to flip in this game because honestly, it's the Falcons. I get it. Falcons have had a hot start. They're playing well, but I do not trust that defense. I don't trust the Falcons.
Lawrence has had something like 6 passes dropped in the end zone this year. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And like 3 of them by Calvin Ridley as well.
I don't know who that is.
I know you don't. But
Aaron's favorite player.
With Desmond Ridder, hopefully he's your QB3, and you're sitting him every week, and hopefully you're stashed Taylor Heineke, which I think is what I did on a couple of teams as well. But yeah, you're not playing him even against the Jags. And Trevor Lawrence, you probably have to play him, but I really don't want to. The Falcons defense has been decent, but I think there's definitely something to this, London game issue where players are, going outside of their normal travel routines, the time zone. It just affects different guys differently. And even if it's not affecting Lawrence, we don't know how it's going to affect his pass catchers, his blockers, right? Some guys seem to really struggle with that change. So I don't think Lawrence is an ideal play, but yeah, I think you're playing him regardless.
The running backs here, it's a bottom 8 matchup for Bijan. I don't care. I'm playing him anyways. You may even be able to flex Algier, although it looks like he may be a thing of the past. It's an even worse matchup for Travis Etienne. I think if you got him, you got to play him. So pretty sure both of these guys you got to fire up as your RB1 and just maybe expect a lower ceiling. What do you think here? I assume it's Bijan over Etienne for you, but you're starting them both?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, Bijan's a must start, and I'm basically playing ETN every week. Like, the offense is too good. So unless it's a really bad matchup and I have some like stud running backs to choose from, like ETN's just basically set it forget it for a guy for me because he's too good at running back and too good at offense. Like, so I'll just bet on him and roll the dice.
Jeremy, anything?
Yeah, no. You guys pretty much said it. Algier, if you have to tank, unfortunately, we still need to wait and just until that usage improves.
All right, let's move on to the receivers. We have a Ralvin Kidley revenge game. The Jags, it's a bad matchup for him. I think I'm still starting him as a wide receiver 2. I think I can play Kirk as a wide receiver 2 or a 3. I don't know if Zay Jones is going to play.
No, he's out.
Is he? Is he out? Okay, I wasn't sure. On the other side, we've got pretty much Drake London, and I'm still not playing him. That said, that there's only one relevant pass catcher, and I'm still probably not playing him outside of a flex. I mean, it's a good matchup, so I guess you probably could, but I know any league where I have him, he is on my bench for anything even remotely resembling a startable receiver. You guys playing him this week?
Yeah, I'll play London. I mean, I don't have him in too many spots, but I've been playing him the last few weeks, and he's doing fine, right? You can't rely on him as a wide receiver 1 or even your wide receiver 2. But if you have other good flex options and you need to throw him out there, I think you can. But yeah, it's I'd rather have those 2 Jags over him for sure.
Yeah, like it's a mystery bag with London. He's just too good of a talent. So if I have him, I'm likely going to keep throwing him out there unless I have other good options. Like if I have Tyler Lockett, I'll play Tyler Lockett over him to those type of guys. But like it's a good matchup, and you just want to bet on the talent. And this
London
is the
London.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Kyle Pitts situation in a second. How he had his one blow up game of his career in London.
Yeah.
We are going to get into the Kyle Pitts situation right now. These are the 4th and 5th best matchups for tight ends. Evan Ingram has proven to be a must start, so in a good matchup, we are starting him anyways. He's probably a top 3 to 5 tight end, probably top 3 this week. Kyle Pitts, 4th best matchup. I know it sucks. I know it's scary. You probably got to play him. Having said that, I believe I said screw it in one league where I was just desperate, and I believe I have Jonnu Smith playing this week instead. I know that's absolutely batshit crazy, but Kyle Pitts is not working for me, so I just said screw it. I need a tight end. I need the matchup here. I don't want to play Pitts. Fuck it. I'm going to play Jonnu. So having said that, I'm sure Kyle Pitts is going to go off this week. So both tight ends, you got to play them. The kickers, I'm having a stroke during this game and can't seem to ever figure out which 2 teams it is. It's a terrible matchup for the Jags. McManus, you probably don't roster him anyway, so you can sit his ass. Koo, He's an elite kicker. It's a terrible matchup. If you've got him, you probably have to play him. You're not rostering 2 kickers, so you just got to take your lumps and hope that they come up with a couple of long drives that stall out and turn into long field goals. The DSTs, it's a great matchup. Well, great. It's a top 10 matchup for the Jags, so you're probably playing them. As far as the Falcons, it's a top 5 matchup for them, so I don't know. They're a streaming option. I don't know if I really have that much confidence in them. So for DSTs, I think I'd take Jags over Falcons. The kickers, start Koo if you gotta. The tight ends are pretty much both in must-start territory, if on reputation alone. Any thoughts or disagreements with that?
Oh, I'm right there with you.
You nailed it.
Yeah. It's just we're hoping for that magical game once again from Kyle Pitts. That's probably never going to happen again, but that's what we're hoping for.
Shame. But I would say, yeah, if you had any reservations about Evan Ingram with Zay Jones out, you just fire him up, right? It's kind of like the same situation as San Francisco with Ayuk out and everybody else went off, right? That's what we're looking at here in Jacksonville.
We have what looks to be a trade question. Side A, Gibbs, Jalen Warren, Garrett Wilson. I'm assuming this is redraft. Side B, Damian Pierce, Zach Moss, Cortland Sutton. I'm going A pretty easily here, I think. I know pretty much every piece in this looks scary on both sides. I'm going A pretty easily. I think Gibbs gets better as the season goes on. I think Warren gets better as the season goes on. And Garrett Wilson's still probably a top 20 receiver, even though he's been in a shitty situation. Pierce, I have no faith in. Zach Moss could be done this week. Cortland Sutton's look good, but for how long? So side A here, guys, pretty easily.
You bet on the talent. The one thing is the mystery box that is Zach Moss. If Taylor does not come back, like getting Zach Moss on that side, he might be the best asset in this entire deal. So that's the whole just giant cluster F that is Zach Moss right now. But yeah, it's too good.
And I'm with the A side as well, but at first glance, I was leaning B. Not only Zach Moss, but Cortland Sutton's been great, right? I love Jerry Jeudy, but Cortland Sutton has been dominating. I know we're all clamoring for Mims to get more work. We're all clamoring for, Judy's going to be right when he comes back. It could still just be Cortland Sutton. To be fair, it's always been Cortland Sutton when Cortland Sutton is healthy on the field, and everything else has just been speculation. So, I think it's closer than we want to admit, but I'd prefer Gibbs and Warren there.
The interesting thing about Sutton is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But Cecil Lammey, the Broncos reporter, he was saying that they wouldn't be surprised if they change up their personnel and make Mims more this week. So I think he's going to start being more involved, which is so nice to see.
I agree with that. For me, the issue is Zach Moss. I'm operating under the assumption JT's back next week. I can't see any scenario, whether this is a fake injury or a holdout. There's anything he does, whether he holds out, whether he sits it out on the IR, either way, he hurts his value for next year. There's no reasonable reason for him to sit out here. I just can't see him doing it. Next, we got a quick question, guys. Daniel Jones or Justin Fields? Good God.
Jones has a decent matchup this week. I think it's Seattle, right, Jesse?
Yeah, Seattle, which is the number 8 matchup. And, Justin Fields has the second best matchup. Yeah, I was operating under the assumption this was a season-long one.
I'm still on Fields, but it's a lot closer than I want it to be. I'm really close to these guys at this point. So, but Fields needs to show it, like you were saying in our pod yesterday, Aaron. Fields needs to show it today.
That's exactly. This is the second best matchup in football for quarterbacks. If Fields, you have to start Fields here, and if he doesn't come through, Fields is gone. Drop him.
Jones for me.
Trade him. Yeah,
I don't blame you. Honestly, don't even blame you.
I don't either. I want to start Jones, but I think if you can't start Fields here, you can never start Fields again. I think you have to just start him and hope he finds a way. Hope they turn him loose rushing.
But you're starting Fields and hoping for Daniel Jones production. Through the air. Well, it probably won't happen through the air, on the ground. And then, maybe he turns in this elite performance that we haven't seen from last year, rushing the ball, right? It's possible, but give me Jones. He's the safer play, and he can put up points as well. So
I guess my final answer will be, if you need, like Jeremy said, if you need the safe route, if you've got a decent team and you want the safe play, Daniel Jones is safe. He doesn't have the ceiling, but he has a much safer floor. Justin Fields could finish as a QB1. he could also finish as QB 25. So if you need the upside, if you're an underdog there, Isaac, if you're a big dog, I would gamble for the upside of Fields. If you've got it in hand and a decent play, I take the safety of Jones and just take the layup. But like I said, if you can't start Fields in this matchup, there's no point in having him on your roster anymore.
That's true.
You are welcome.
How much risk are you willing to take as a manager? Like that should answer your question for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on here. We're going to pick things up a bit. We're dragging on. We have the Steelers at the Texans. This is an exciting matchup. Steelers by 3. At quarterback, we've got Kenny Pickett versus C.J. Stroud. You're welcome.
Oh, baby.
Who would have thought that C.J. Stroud would look so good? But we've got Pickett. It's the 12th best matchup against Houston. He's a mid to low end QB 2 at best. I would say is a low end QB 2. C.J. Stroud. It's a middle of the pack matchup. I don't care if I have the option here. I'm starting Stroud easily over Pickett. I think he's probably a high-end QB2 with QB1 upside. Any disagreement there? Stroud easily over Pickett?
No, he's good. No. Pickett is TBD on the good spectrum of players.
Yeah, there's no argument here. Just to say, Stroud has played Indy and Jacksonville and looked really good. He played Baltimore in week 1, not so good. Here against the Steelers, who are, I think, closer to the Baltimore end of the spectrum on defense, I think he could struggle, but yeah, Kenny Pickett, even in a plus matchup, I don't want to touch him if I don't have to.
So that's okay. I agree 100% with what you're saying. So, but my theory is, even if he does struggle, he's Kenny Pickett. So worst case scenario,
exactly.
Best scenario, Kenny Pickett. So let's just go with C.J. Stroud. That works for Kenny Pickett. So running back side of the ball. We have Dameon Pierce that me and Jesse talked about yesterday. He was one of the top 5 line guys in my matchups. Deshaun Watson, we'll have to talk about this when we get to Cleveland, but there's something going on with Deshaun Watson's shoulders, and apparently it looks like DTR might be getting a start this week, but I just seen that pop up. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Go pick up DTR, by the way. Seriously, people should. Like that.
27 leagues.
Serious tandem traits, yeah.
He looked good in preseason, but anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. Pierce was one of the guys on the top line of my matchups where they were the guys in the best 5 matchups. They were the Bears running backs, Javonte, Madison, Pierce, and Najee Harris. These are the 5 guys where if they can't get it done in these matchups, they need to be seriously downgraded. So Pierce, I am firing up as an RB2 this week and just hoping he can find his way back to relevancy. And the guy right next to him on the other side of the ball is at number 5, 5th best matchup is Najee Harris. Both of these guys, RB2s, both of them should find a way to be a low-end RB1 in a juicy matchup. But if these guys don't come through, we have a big problem, and I'm probably going to be leaving both of them on my bench after this week. What are your thoughts on Pierce and Najee? And if you had to pick one, who would you rather start?
It's tough, right? So the Steelers played San Francisco and Christian McCaffrey in week 1. They played the Browns, which I think was half of Nick Chubb. And Jerome Ford. Was that the crazy game where they all went off in week 2?
I think so, yes.
So the Steelers had a tough go of it in the first couple of weeks. They played the Raiders last week and bottled up Josh Jacobs because Josh Jacobs is on a dumpster fire of a team. You want to talk about dumpster fire? This is like the dumpster fire behind the dumpster behind Walmart,
It's funny you mentioned Jacobs. I was talking to someone earlier about that, saying how I wanted to buy low on him, but I'm not. I'm out on him everywhere this year. He is facing more stacked boxes than any running back in the league. I don't think Josh Jacobs is any worse this year, but when you get the ball and 9 guys jump you, it's tough to do anything. We'll get back to this game in a sec. I just want to answer this. Hey guys, who would you flex? Thielen, Pickens, Flowers, or Cook? That's a tough one. If you can only get one,
Cook. I'm
going to scroll down here. So for Cook, I'm looking at my matchups.
Yeah, what are the matchups here?
He's got Miami.
Cook is a decent matchup. It's 9th best. I feel like my first instinct said it was going to be a wide receiver, but let me look at the 3.
I know Zay plays the Browns.
Thielen gets the best matchup. Thielen gets the best matchup of the 3. Zay gets the Browns. You're right. That is the worst matchup. So I think Zay is probably out.
Yeah.
Pickens gets Houston, which is a decent matchup. This is going to be a scary answer that I never thought I'd give in 2023.
You going Pickens?
I think I go with Adam Thielen. That's terrifying.
Yeah, he's good, man. I just wish freaking this is so sad because I wish Andy Dalton was his quarterback this week over Bryce Young. Like that's where I'm at, right?
I say Flowers because he's the best player, but I don't know. Thielen, I think the matchup's too good.
Cook's just a really good running back, and that's like the thing. Like he gives you a really high floor.
It's a Thielen revenge game.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, if you want to buy into it, like go for it. I still need a little bit more time with Thielen. I was actually trying to buy him in Dynasty now, which is
a little more time. He's 45 years old.
I know that's the thing.
He's dead by the time you come around. They're going to be burying Adam Thielen and just I think he's good this year.
I'm ready. I'm finally ready.
Holy shit. Okay, well, what are your final answers then? I went Thielen, but I'd love to say Flowers. My heart says Flowers, but I think I go Thielen. The matchup's too bad. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I love Zay, but I'm benching him everywhere I can this week. Thielen, revenge game, sure, he looked great, but like Jesse said, a little bit more time with that offense with Bryce Young, everybody getting used to each other. Hayden Hurst was super involved in week 1 without Thielen. They're still trying to figure that out, and DJ Chark is still there. So, Thielen could do what he did last week. He could also put up a dud. I'm going with the high floor and high ceiling of James Cook for sure.
I'm trying to get something up, but I can't get to it quick enough on my PFF because the way I answer what was your answer for it?
For me, Cook. I know Jesse's the same.
Okay. All right. So we have the way I normally determine whether or not to start George Pickens is whether the team he faces plays a heavy amount of man or zone. Houston plays more zone, which doesn't work out well for Pickens normally. He's a one-on-one man beater.
He's a man beater.
I go Thielen here, but like I said, it's scary as shit. You guys went Cook?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's get back to it. Thank you for the question, Jeff. Where were we? Wide receivers transitioning?
Yeah. Let's talk about Pickens.
This game is actually right back to Pickens. This game's a little scary. I know Dell has looked great. Nico has been good. I still think they're low-end wide receiver 2s, more likely 3s. They're like Puka Nacua. They've looked awesome. The law of averages is going to have them settle down a bit. They're going to be more like 3s with 2 upside. Pickens is the only one here. I think he's a wide receiver 2 this week because, like I said, they play more zone than man. He's a 1 for me against man. He's a 2 or a 3 against zone. I think the Steelers are going to struggle. I think you could play all 3 of them as a 2, a 3, or a flex, but I don't expect I don't expect the Texans offense to continue to produce like they've been doing through the air. Like, I don't know. The Steelers are a much stingier defense, like you guys mentioned. So what are your thoughts here? And if you had to, out of Dell, Nico, and Pickens, how are you ranking it?
Well, we know the Texans are likely going to struggle to run the ball, right? So they kind of have to throw it, and that's what's been happening so far. Pickens, not a huge fan, so I'd probably go Dell, Collins, Pickens. I get it. He's kind of the only show in town really there with, decaying Allen Robinson, Pat Freiermuth kind of showing up sometimes, and Kenny Pickett, who knows what that is behind center. But that's my order. I like Dell, Collins just behind, and then Pickens.
Yeah, I'm right there. So it's interesting. With Dell's first read percentage was like 33% last game, which is astronomical. Like you're pushing high end numbers at that rate. So I'm curious to see if that translates moving forward because it's gone up every game for him. And we saw Nico last week. He was kind of not part of the offense. He wasn't really impactful at all. So I kind of want to see how those 2 are used. But the thing is, like, Woods is the number 3 option on offense now. Like I don't trust Woods. Like I expect those 2 to be the guys involved. And then Pickens, like he has no competition, as you're saying. So like by default, I'm probably gonna have Pickens slightly ahead of those 2, but they're all really clustered for me. Like you could just make the case for any of them, and I wouldn't throw a fit.
All right, we got to pick up the pace a little here. Tight ends, it's the 9th best matchup for Freiermuth. You're starting him anyways. I think he's kind of settling in for me as a Dallas Goedert. He's a low end tight end 1. He's not going to be worse. He's not going to be better. He's like your 10 points per game guy. So you're starting him. Schultz, it's the 5th worst matchup. He's been terrible. So we have start one tight end, sit the other. Kickers here, we've got, it's a bad matchup for Boswell, so you're probably going to sit him. Fairbairn, it's the 13th best. I doubt, just based on my Alchemy article, I believe he's one of only 2 kickers who has a 0% start rate. So you probably don't have him on your roster. So even in a decent matchup, you're not playing either of these kickers. Defenses, I'm quite comfortable with the Steelers. Even though Houston ranks as a bottom 10 off matchup right now, they've been scoring. I think, like you said, I don't think they're as good as they've looked. So I'm comfortable playing Pittsburgh probably as a top 6. The Texans this is a middle of the pack matchup for them. I think you can also play them because I don't love this Steelers offense. I don't think anyone does. They're not going to score much. They're going to turn the ball over. So Pittsburgh, probably a top 6 DST for me. Texans are more like 12 to 15. Bench both kickers. Bench Dalton Schultz and start Pat Freiermuth as a low-end tight end 1. Any major points of contention there, guys?
No, nothing there. But just to mention, we didn't talk about Jalen Warren. I'm firing him up. Again, I don't love the offense, but they have to get him more involved. He's looked explosive. And if you can do anything against this Texans team, you can run against them. So Jalen Warren should have a good game. If not, then he's staying on your bench.
I thought that too because I've been holding him everywhere expecting it, but someone sent me the other day some of the advanced metrics for him, and he's pretty much been outperformed by Najee in every metric, and it's not the way I was expecting it to go. So I'm starting to sour my shares a bit on that.
I just hold him and see how it goes. Like, that's kind of how I'm treating him.
Son of a bitch. One sec. Sorry, guys. I went to click on the Rams-Colts game, which is up next, and I closed the fucking thing because that's what I do. All right, here we go. Because I just messaged in the chat, hey, we got to speed things up a bit because we're going to go over time.
Right.
So what do? I slow us down even fucking further. All right, next up we've got Rams at Colts. This one's a pick-em, which indicates how bad both teams are. Quarterback, we got Matt Stafford, and I'm going to assume it's Anthony Richardson. It looks like he hasn't cleared the protocol just yet, but he's practicing. That's a good sign. Richardson, it's a bad matchup, bottom 3. I don't know how for real that Rams pass defense really is. If Richardson plays, I'm still starting him as a top 6. Stafford, it is the 4th best matchup. I think he is just mid-range QB2. That's his ceiling. He's not really going to go over 20. He's not going to go under 15. He's just kind of super flex guy. You start him and forget him. You're not really going to get anything extra out of him. What do you guys think here about these two?
I'm playing both quarterbacks this week if I have them. I really like the matchup for Stafford, and he hasn't produced fantasy like you're talking about, but there is the potential that it could be this week. And Richardson, he's just too dynamic and too good. He's literally like what we're hoping Fields is, and we're just getting it from Richardson. He's only played like 5 quarters or whatever it is, but like he's shown enough where I'm riding with him. This is the guy we bet on early in your draft. Like, you put him out there and you roll with him. He's basically a must-start guy.
Yeah, and I agree with that with Richardson. Because he's got that rushing floor, right? I mean, we've seen it, with countless quarterbacks around the league. So we'll start him. Matthew Stafford, I think this looks like a great matchup, and I am starting him. The one thing I noticed last week is Julius Brents, who's a rookie in the secondary for the Colts, came in his first game and completely changed the look of that secondary. I mean, granted, they were playing Baltimore, who, maybe Lamar's still figuring out this offense, but Brents was all over the field and really changed the dynamic there. So I'm interested to see if that continues.
Zach Moss pretty easily here.
He's a freak. Like, he's a legit freak. And if they see, they'll pay attention to him. Like, he'll catch your attention.
Zach Moss on this question pretty easily.
Yeah.
Moss.
Yeah.
2-2 or Zach. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get into it. That's funny. He was next up on my list here. We've got Zach Moss. It's the 4th worst matchup. I don't care. I'm starting him. I have him as RB11 this week. Kyron Williams, I have 9 in a middle of the pack matchup. I'm firing both of these up. I have them ranked on projections as low-end RB1s. They're probably more like high-end RB2s. I'm starting them both. There's nobody else behind them that I'm starting. You guys good with starting both of these as more realistically probably a high-end RB2?
The bell cows? Yeah, we're playing the bell cows, which is so weird to say, but that's what they are.
Yeah, and Moss, we've seen Moss, but we haven't seen him with Richardson yet. That should open up even more holes, so fire him up.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, on the receiving side of the ball, Puka gets the 7th best matchup. I guess 2-2 as well. Puka, I'm probably starting as a 2, 2-2 as a 3 or a flex. Pittman in the Colts, it's a 3rd worst matchup. I don't care at this point, regardless of quarterback. Pittman's been too good. I'm starting Pittman as a low-end 1. So I got it, Pittman, and then a considerable drop down to Nakua, and then a big drop down to Atwell. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's closer. I might edge Pittman ahead, but I think they're all jumbled in one big box because I don't believe the Colts secondary is completely fixed. They were so bad before last week, but we'll see. But yeah, Pittman, but I think they're close.
Yeah, the Rams secondary has been surprisingly good this year. So yeah, like both these defenses and their secondaries can surprise teams because they have talent back there. They're young, they're athletic, and they can play. But like these guys are too good. They're both like probably like high-end wide receiver 2s this week, with maybe low-end wide receiver 1s in that range. And then yeah, if you need to flex 2-2, absolutely do it. Like he's seeing the volume and the work. If you want to take a flyer on Josh Downs, like he's the guy that you could take a flyer on if you want to as well in this matchup.
All righty. Yeah. Tight ends, they're both bad to low-end matchups. I'm not starting any of them. I'm not starting Higbee, not starting Jelani Woods or whoever the hell else is there, Kylan Granson. As far as kickers go, it's a 8th and 9th worst matchup for kickers for Brett Maher and Matt Gay. Probably not starting either of them. You can probably find a better streamer. And as far as DSTs goes, I don't mind either of them. It ranks as bottom 10 matchups for both. I don't know if that's more of an indication of them facing bad schedules or what, but I don't think either of these teams is going to, light up the scoreboard. I don't think either of them is going to, take particularly great care of the ball. Richardson will turn it over. Matt Stafford, that's what he does best. So bench all tight ends, bench all kickers, stream DSTs if you need to as low-end DST ones. Any disagreements or points of contention, gentlemen?
Nope. Just one more question in the chat. What is Puka's trade value today?
Dynasty or redraft? Because this is a completely different discussion. So for me, I'll just go with Dynasty. He's like a late first range. In redraft, like the hardest part is if you're expecting Cup to come back, you kind of just want to get what you can for him. If you're more curious and worried about Cup, you can kind of just play this out with Puka because you're not going to – it's going to be hard to get that value return of what he's producing for you. So that's the decision you have to make with him.
Yeah. Yeah. On a contender, I was offered a first for Puka before last week. I turned it down because I want that flex value. I knew he wasn't going to do what he did the first 2 weeks. And even if Cup comes back, which, hopefully he's coming back, but it's not looking great right now. He still should, what he did last week should still be his floor. So I'd be looking for a first in Dynasty still. In redraft, I mean, I'm not trading like for like, so I won't trade him for another wide receiver, but I'd look for an RB if I need to fill a hole.
Yeah, there's a trade with it's like Puka and Mostert on one end of one of my leagues, and it is. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, that's same for me. If I'm trading him, I'm looking for a running back, and at this point, I'm probably looking for. You're not going to get one of the top.
Zach Moss.
No, I'm looking higher than Zach Moss.
People would be going for like Swift and stuff. Yeah,
I'm looking for a high end to a low end one, like maybe a mix in. I know that, but I mean, I get that sounds asinine, and I always say don't suggest these trades. But with how low people are on Mixon and how high people are on Puka, I think it might be possible. But I don't know. I'm looking for an RB2 is what I'm looking for. Yeah. All righty. Next up, we have Miami at Buffalo. This one is Bills by 2.5. You win by 50 and still don't get any respect. Go figure. What more can they do? So we have Tua. Let me look at the matchup. Well, either way, these are both must starts. So you have Josh Allen, who's an every week top 3, and Tua, who's thrust himself into top 5. Tua, it's the second worst matchup. I don't care. I'm still playing him. Josh Allen, middle of the pack matchup. Don't care. I'm still playing him. Yeah. Any thoughts here aside from play both of them? Like, I don't really know what else to say. Nobody's sitting either.
The defense is too good. So, like, you got to bring Tua down a little bit this week just because Buffalo's legit defense. It's not Denver where it's just wheels up. But, like, he's been incredible, and the offense is one of the best offenses in the league. So you're playing him. Like, I don't know who you would have on your roster that you would start over. Like, you could maybe talk yourself into Richardson over him if you really wanted to, but, like, realistically, I'm just playing Tua.
Yeah. And the Bills defense has been good, but they've played the Jets and Aaron Rodgers for 4 snaps, right? They played the Raiders in week 2. and then they played Washington last week. So they haven't really seen anything on the level of what this offense is going to bring. So I'm holding judgment on the Bills. We expect that they'll be good, but I think the Dolphins will handle them. This should be a fireworks.
Yeah, because he played he played New England and he put up like 249 yards and a touchdown. Like it was completely different. So like it's probably going to be closer to that than we saw last week.
Running back side of the ball, it's the 9th best matchup for Cook. Probably going to start him as a RB2. He's been really consistent, not great but consistent. It's the 11th worst matchup for Mostert and A-Chain. I'm still starting them probably as RB2s, more like an RB3 for A-Chain. I'm not A-Chan, whatever the hell we're calling him nowadays. I'm not sure they're going to be, anywhere near as good. Like I see people losing their mind over last week. People making trades A-Chan for just absolute like ridiculous things, and I'm going, no, like this week they're benching. Like I've seen people bench. Who was it? They benched Barkley, Eckler, someone who's expected. Oh no, it was Walker. Someone benched Walker to play Raheem Mostert. No thanks.
Against the Giants, no.
Just give it some time. Let it play out. Like I get it. Yeah. So like there's a trade with. I was gonna take Gibbs, but I was like, would you rather give me A-Chan? And the guy goes, no, I'd rather give you Gibbs. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll take
thank you.
That's where people are at between the two of them.
Thank you. Please come again.
Wild.
So the more important thing here is, I think if you have any of these three, you're starting them. Rank Cook, Mostert, A-Chan. I think I know this defense is tough for Buffalo. They tend to give up either all or nothing, so he's going to get stuffed a lot. But it's going to be a case of can he break one for a long touchdown. I think I'm going to rank this Mostert, Cook, A-Chan, but I'd have to double check my rankings. I have Mostert at 10, A-Chan at 22, and Cook's got to be higher. Cook at 7. So I Cook. I've cooked Mostert, A-Chan. What do you think?
Yep. That's what it is.
Until we see A-Chan like fully take over a bigger role, he's going to be a little bit. But like those two are back to back basically. It's just you just need to see it, and we'll see it over time. It's going to progress. Like it's going to happen. We don't know yet when it's going to happen.
Yeah, and we know they're going to eat into each other's touches, whereas Cook is mostly the guy. He's just losing that goal line work, So
and the 2-minute drill, which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, it's a bad matchup for the Dolphins. I don't care. I'm starting Hill and Waddle if Waddle plays, which he should. Diggs, middle of the pack matchup. Don't care starting him. All three of them are wide receiver ones. Gabe Davis, I think you can play as a low end 2 if you have to. You guys playing Gabe Davis? That's really the only major point of discussion out of these receivers.
Probably. I don't want to. I mean, last week, he looked like he was going to have a great game, and he just caught that one ball for a touchdown. So, they just don't go to him enough. If I have better options, I'll sit him. He's probably wide receiver 3 territory. But yeah, if I have to, I'd fire him up. I mean, they should score the points.
I hope so, Jackson. I really hope so, Jackson. It's gonna.
Has anybody ever finished as a top 12 running back without scoring a touchdown?
I mean, Miles Sanders 2 years ago had it really close where he didn't score a touchdown and he had a ton of yards. So yeah, he's basically an upgraded Miles Sanders from 2 years ago. So it's like, yay, fun, but also depressing.
Give me A-Chan in this. I think they both have the similar potential, but give me the running back for positional scarcity over Palmer.
Playing this week.
Yeah, I was just looking that up. They're playing Vegas.
Vegas?
Oh,
boy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay, are we talking this week? I think I still take. No, I'm not sold on Palmer. This could just as easily be Quentin Johnston.
It's Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett is the answer for me.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Yeah. With Palmer, he is what he is. He averaged 13 points per game last year when like one of the wide receivers didn't play, but that was also with like both of them missing, with both Williams and Allen out. So like you kind of know what he is. He's solid floor play. If you want like ceiling, just go with A-Chan.
It's A-Chan for me. The tight ends, it's a top 7 matchup for the Bills. Problem is you don't know if they're splitting it between Kincaid and Knox. I think I'm getting away from both if I can. Low end tight end ones if you have to. Bad matchup for Miami, and they don't really have a tight end, benching them. So bench both tight ends if you can. It's a bad matchup for kicker Jason Sanders. You probably got to start him if you have him. It's not bad enough to bench him or drop him. So if you got him, start him. It is I can't find him. Where the hell is he? Oh, it's a middle of the pack matchup for Tyler Bass. He's another one. both these kickers, it's not a great matchup. You can't afford to drop either of them. You don't want to carry 2 kickers. Start them both. DSTs, I think I'm avoiding pretty much both DSTs. This is one of the rare times where I think I advocate for keeping both defenses. Well, keeping Buffalo for sure and carrying a second DST. Miami, you might be able to drop. I'm not all that fond of them, but Buffalo, keep them. Stream somebody else this week. Miami, drop them if you have to and stream somebody else. So don't play either defense. Play both kickers because you can't really carry a second kicker, and don't play a tight end. Thoughts, you guys? How do you play?
I don't mind Kincaid. So last week it got so out of hand early, like they shifted the offense and like they took Davis out of the offense. Really, they took Kincaid out. Like they didn't do much. They just basically just chilled it. So like you can fire him up. Just know the floor is lower than it is with other guys, just because he's not running all the routes, but he's just a talent. So you're kind of betting on talent in what should be a really high scoring game. So that's kind of like the case for Kincaid this week.
Yeah, and the crazy thing though is his usage has gone down every week. Like I know that the game scripts are different, and they again Jets, Raiders, Commanders isn't exactly a gauntlet that they faced the first few weeks. But I'll fire him up in this matchup where I expect the Bills to score. But at the same time, that Knox usage is really troubling.
Guys, we got
it's
20
similar
minutes.
To Montgomery. It's just
20 minutes, 4 games. So next up, we got Cincinnati favored by 2.5 at Tennessee. Has Cincinnati looked that bad that they're only 2.5-point favorites? Truly horrifying. Quarterback matchup here. Burrow, it's the 9th best matchup. I know he struggled. I know he's hurt. I don't care. This Titans pass defense is so bad. He's probably a low-end low-end quarterback one. Still starting him. Ryan Tannehill, bad matchup, bad quarterback. I'm just out on him, so I don't think there's any points of disagreement there. Low-end tight end one and a bench. Agreed?
Yeah. It's just frustrating. It is what it is, right? You're like, if they suck, and he's got to get healthy, so you got to weather it.
Mixon and Henry both get below-average matchups. Both have kind of struggled. I think I'd prefer to start Mixon over Henry, but are we getting to the point where you guys are starting to start guys like Mostert and Kyron Williams over these two? Are they done?
In this matchup particularly, I don't like Mixon because of the Titans, and that rush defense is going to make him any more inefficient. So, I don't mind those guys over him this week. But overall, I still take Mixon over those guys.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm still firing up Mixon. I agree. But, this offense is going to have to do something, and he's seeing pretty much all the work there. So
he's gonna have a big blow up game like last year.
Yeah.
Despite the health of Joe Burrow, this one's easy at receiver. Top 4 matchup for receiver. You're starting both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You could probably flex Boyd. I don't care how bad it looks. I'm starting them both. Second worst matchup for the Titans. So I wasn't playing Burks anyways. I'm likely only using D-Hop as a desperation flex. What do you guys think there?
Yeah, I mean,
that injury worries me.
Yeah, it's been a problem for the last few weeks. And the thing is that, the Cincinnati Bengals have been getting home. They had 6 sacks last week against, Matthew Stafford, who is basically like, Ryan Tannehill heavy with a better arm and better vision and a better line somehow, right? So I expect Cincinnati to get in there early and often, disrupt them. So, I don't want to start any of the pass catchers here.
Yeah, we saw them Monday night. They absolutely wrecked the Rams line. So, newsflash, Tennessee, y'all are going to be in trouble this week.
Yeah,
so,
it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad.
All right, at tight end, Chig and Irv Smith, both in middling to low-end matchups. I'm not playing either. Chig is a dynasty stash and nothing.
Irv is out as well.
Oh, is he?
It's like Sample and Wilcox. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Then I guess you're really not playing him. So I was mad. Why you got to break balls. Okay, McPherson at kicker. It is a top 5 matchup. You are absolutely starting him. For Tennessee, it is a middle-of-the-pack matchup for Folk. You likely don't have him on your roster anyways, so don't worry about him. On defense, this is a confusing one. Cincy, it's a 7th best matchup, so I guess they're a low-end defense 1 streamer. It's a bad matchup for the Titans, so I think stream Cincy, play Cincy if you have to. Titans are a no-go. Folks a no-go. McPherson's a must-start, and all the tight ends are dog water. Any disagreement?
Nope. I'm definitely playing the Cincy D though. Tennessee has been terrible.
Yeah, they're going to get a lot of sacks.
In Ryan
A lot of
Tannehill.
sacks.
What, you're not worried like Malik Willis could come in and light up the scoreboard?
Might as well just hope Will Levis goes up out of nowhere.
I said that with a straight face. No, well,
Yeah, you did. That was
He's
impressive.
too busy
He caught me
eating
off
mayo.
for a second. I was like, wait, is he serious? There's no way he's serious. I was like,
No, not serious. Not serious. Okay, next up we've got Baltimore at Cleveland. Cleveland by 1.5. I don't like this game for fantasy. These two defenses are fucking good, man. This one's going to be your typical 9-6, 12-10 AFC North game. Like the Steelers and Ravens used to play. Monday Night Football game is a 9-6 muddy, rainy dog fight. It's just nasty. Lamar, you're playing Lamar, top 6 quarterback. It is the worst matchup possible. I don't care. He rushes enough that he's still going to be a top 12 quarterback. Watson, it's a shitty matchup. He looks like he's hurt. I'd like to get away from him in a bad matchup. DTR is more interesting, I think, because he could rush, but a rookie quarterback making his first start against the Ravens defense is not really where I want to be involved. So must start Jackson. I think you sit both Browns. Watson, I guess if you have to, you can play him if he plays. Thoughts?
yeah. I'm going to actually – I don't think Lamar's necessarily a must-start in this game. Like, the defense is too freaking good, man. Like, you're definitely playing him, but, like, there's other guys in that QB1 range I would put over him this week. So he's a lower-end QB1 from this week. I really don't want to play anyone against the Browns defense. That's how incredible they've been. So, like, I'm trying to fade everybody going against the Browns this week.
I don't want anyone in this entire game. The defense is good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in a guillotine league with Lamar and Kirk, and it's Kirk pretty easily, even though he's playing Carolina. I was heavily considering taking on a third QB and picking up Stafford and playing Stafford against Indy just to get those points, but I don't think I can do it. But yeah, Lamar for me, I'm very concerned. I'm playing him where I have to, but if I have a pivot as a low QB1 like Kirk, I'm making it.
Oh yeah.
Like I think in this one, I don't even have to go position by position. Like I'm starting Lamar. I'm probably getting away from Watson if I can. I can play as a low end 2 or 3, both Flowers and Amari Cooper. I have no interest in any other receiver. I have no real interest in any of the running backs. Jerome Ford, if you're desperate, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't mind playing Ford this matchup actually. Like I think he's the one that will succeed the most of the the Cleveland guys. But I don't want a Ravens running back in this matchup because you don't know how it's gonna work out. But I'll play Ford. Like he's decent.
Ford's fine, but even Flowers, like it depends where you drafted these guys. If you have to play them, like Flowers is a bit later. Ford, right? You probably got on waivers or at the end, right? So you're playing those. You don't have to play those guys. Amari Cooper, you have to play, and you just cross your fingers.
Anthony Richardson will start for the Colts by Pro Football Talk.
Beautiful.
Mark Andrews, I'm obviously starting. And Njoku, I want no part of. He's been terrible. My favorite targets in this one, if I'm in a kicker or DST, I'm firing up all DSTs and kickers in this one. They are going to be the stars of this game, as they normally are in this. So, like I said, that was a pretty easy one to break down. It's not going to be the highest scoring affair of the week. Moving on to from the biggest defensive game of the week to a game where they may not know what defense is. It may be banned. We have the Raiders at Chargers with the Chargers by 5.5. And as bad as the Raiders have been, to only be favored by 5.5 over them tells you how shitty the Chargers defense is.
Yeah.
So Justin Herbert, it's a top 10 matchup for him. I think it's even better than that.
Yeah,
I'm firing him up.
Yeah.
The Raiders are interesting. It is by far the easiest matchup for a quarterback. Jimmy's not going to play. That means it's Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. I want no part of Brian Hoyer. I probably want no part of Aiden O'Connell except to say stash him in your dynasty league before this week starts, just in case it turns out he doesn't suck.
Yeah,
so
nice. I have had him stashed everywhere for this exact reason. Like he's on 7 of my rosters because he was free. I was like, pick him up, see what happens.
Right at running back, it is a top 7 matchup for Eckler, assuming he's healthy. You're starting him anyways. There's no question there. You're benching all his backups. They suck. Even if he's out, they suck. Josh Jacobs, it's the 12th best matchup. You got to play him. He's kind of like if you drafted him, he's got to be your RB2 at worst. He's probably only going to be an RB2 ceiling because he gets hit in the backfield before he gets the ball. This Chargers run defense sucks. So both are top 12 matchups. You have to play Eckler. You have to play Jacobs if you have either of them. Eckler's obviously the far higher ceiling here.
Yep.
Jacobs, I kind of feel sorry for at this point. You almost hope he gets a injury and just can sit this one out for a little year because he's just going to get himself killed in that backfield. So
yeah, it's rough.
Any disagreements there?
No, I mean Jacobs, I was fading him all off season, and only because this team sucks, right? Like from coach to quarterback to it's such a horrible situation for him. Like you said, feel bad for him. If you can pivot off of him. But like we've been saying with some guys today, if you can't play him now in this matchup, when can you play him?
Yeah, it's juicy as heck. Like he's got some good matchups upcoming. Like he plays New England like 2 weeks besides that. But like overall, like that volume is fantastic. So like you should expect some decent production in this matchup. And I'm not going to be shocked if he falls in the end zone 1 or 2 times in this game.
Sure.
It is the best matchup for the receivers. You're obviously firing up Devontae Adams. He could be the wide receiver 1 this week. I'm probably comfortable playing Jacoby Myers as a 2-3. Yep. Keenan Allen is an elite number 1. It's the 10th best matchup. He's probably mid-range wide receiver 1 at worst. I'm comfortable probably flexing Palmer or Quentin Johnston. Comfortable was a bad choice of words. It's more your poison here and hope you hit the right one.
Sure.
I prefer Palmer, but like I said, Adams and Allen are must starts. I prefer Jacoby Myers over either of the Chargers, but if I had to pick one, I go Palmer. Long term, if you can afford to hold on, I would hold Quentin Johnston and hope he comes on as the season picks up. Yeah. But immediately, it's Palmer. So what do you guys think here about the receiving situation?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yep.
All righty. Top 6 matchup for Gerald Everett. I think he is actually my second choice behind Keenan Allen. It's the 11th best matchup for the Raiders. Mayer, Hooper, I don't want any part of it right now. Mayer's a Holden dynasty. That's about it. What are your thoughts on Everett here? Where do you think he falls in the target distribution? Second, third, or fourth?
Like 3rd or 4th. His snap share worries the hell out of me. Like he's playing a very partial role, and he's not getting the end zone looks. So that's going to par him. So like that's the thing that worries me with him. Like I get it, the situation's great, but like I don't feel good about him at all moving forward.
Yeah, no, you don't feel good about him. But like, and even with Parham, we saw him in the end zone, and like last week, you saw him, between the 20s, they were just using him more and more, and it's so disconcerting. But we saw it last year, right, with the receivers out. Gerald Everett stepped up big. I think he just becomes a big slot, right, because they really don't have that other than Keenan, right? But he can play on the other side of the field. From Keenan Allen and just soak up those targets. But with Eckler back, it's also concerning. So I don't love it, but I'd go Allen, like you said, and then Gerald Everett as number 2.
I expect
them to rotate him and QJ through the slot, like along with Allen. So like they'll cycle all 3 of them this week, I would assume.
Yeah.
I want Parham to succeed. That dude's got balls, man, to be running across the field in the end zone. Last time you did it last year, he ended up twitching on the ground. But so, man, it takes fucking balls to keep doing it, knowing you might get killed.
It's a big boy, though. It's a big boy.
Like those, well, who was the Colts receiver where they have entire YouTube highlight reels of Peyton Manning just throwing? Was it Austin Collie? Peyton just throwing him suicide pass after suicide pass, and he just keeps going for it and getting fucking destroyed. That takes balls, man.
The Jimmy G specialty, right?
Jesus.
It's the hospital wolf.
So I forget who it was. Someone led one of the receivers last week, and it was terrible. It was a young quarterback, too, and I remember the broadcast called him out, but I forget who it was. But Dicker, it's a top 12 matchup. If you got him, play him. Carlson, top 10 matchup. If you got him, play him. The DSTs, let's just assume nobody in their right mind rosters either DST at this time. If you do, you probably should quit watching.
You can play the Chargers if you have to in a pinch.
Yeah.
Don't mind him. He's been drinking. He's in Amsterdam. Drugs are illegal over there, so just ignore him. All right, the final one we got here is Chiefs at Jets. Chiefs by 8.5. So the quarterbacks are easy. Patrick Mahomes is a must start. As much as I hope that he fails, because I don't want to have to hear about Taylor Swift anymore. Did you see the post? Someone put a picture of it was the other Kelsey standing next to DeAndre Swift, and they said, "Is this the Swift Kelsey hookup we've been hearing about?" I just thought it was hilarious. So Mahomes, we're starting everywhere. Zach Wilson, you're not even starting if CFL points count.
No.
Any disagreements there?
No.
Chiefs defense has been really good too.
Yeah.
Fucking RPG. You already took the loss on this, didn't you, Mike? I seen this. Fantasy receipts even called them out over.
They did. I saw it. They did. Yeah. I'm waiting on those 1,000 push-ups, Mike.
1,000 push-ups is rough. Is it as
All you
rough
do
as
is 10
starting
push.
Najee?
Oh.
Can I do one a day?
Right.
All right. So the running backs, sadly, I never thought I'd say this, but the KC running backs are the ones I'm targeting. It's a better matchup for them. All three of them were good last week, and in the games where they blow out the other team, their running backs tend to score more and be much more useful. So Pacheco, I think, is a 2. CEH and McKinnon, I think, are a 3 or a flex for me. Breece Hall, I guess if you need him as a desperation 2 or a flex, I can start him. I want nobody else there. What do you guys think about their RB situation in this one?
Yeah, like I said, the Chiefs D is so good. They've been excellent, and I'm not sure on Bolton's status. I think he was out last week, but is he back this week? I think he might be. I just don't want any part, unfortunately, of the Jets running backs. As for the Chiefs, they all kind of cannibalize one another. If I have to pick one, I'll pick McKinnon because he can get it done through the air when you have the Jets stout front facing you. So
why you got to call us names, Corey? That's not nice.
How old is your spirit when you use the word goober? You got to be like pushing 65 with that spirit. When you use the word goober.
Eat or drink away your sorrows on a Monday morning. What's
Goober
this?
is
This is meme. This is the same thing.
Goober is such like a 80s bully term, right? like 80s movie.
Did my grandmother just get in the stream and insult us? All right, moving on to the receivers. It's a bad matchup for both sides. I don't really want any Chiefs. You got to play guess which one's going to not suck this week. The only one I'm starting on either team is Garrett Wilson. He's probably a low end too, as sad as that is to say. Yeah. I don't want any of the receivers besides him. And even he has a lower floor than we ever thought possible.
Yeah, he's like not even in my top 30 wide receivers. Like I'm so just this sucks.
I don't know.
So like curiously, I would not be shocked if any one of the Chiefs wide receivers outscored him this week.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing Garrett Wilson anywhere I have him. Like unless I have to play him.
Unless you have.
And these Chiefs wide receivers, it's like just spin a wheel, man. You don't know what's going to be. I like Rice the most because he's coming on, but realistically, it could be any of those guys.
Tyler Conklin, it's a middle of the pack matchup. Stream him if you got to. Travis Kelce, it's the third best matchup. Are we playing Kelce or do you want to bench him?
I mean, can I play multiple Kelces? Just give me all the Kelces.
I should play Kelce? Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Tyler Conklin or Jason Kelce is the question.
Can they line up Jason Kelce at the tight end? He'll probably catch a touchdown.
They might.
All right. Kicker, it's the number one matchup for Butker. If you got Butker, you draft him high, you're playing him. Zerline, it's the bottom 4, you're benching him. So must start Butker, must bench Zerline. DSTs, Chiefs I have at 6. I'm starting the Chiefs. Jets, I like the Jets defense, but as we've seen in the Dallas game, this offense is so bad that they're spending far too much time on the field, and it's just killing them. So I am starting the Chiefs as DST 6, and I'm benching the Jets. Any disagreements there, guys?
None of it. I don't know why you want that misery of playing Jets players this week.
Anything we missed? Anything you could think of before we call it quits for the day?
No, I think we're good. We crushed it.
Jesse, do you have to take a shit yet?
No, not today. I did just bet the under on the Browns Ravens game though. I was like, we're gonna bet the under on that game.
What's the line?
It's like 39. I was like, nope, under.
39.
Way under that.
No
so you're telling me
chance.
betting the Ravens game and the Ravens Browns game is the equivalent of taking a shit? That's what you're saying?
Basically, it's equal. You know,
I would have thought that about the Bears Broncos game, but
no, that's
Bears
taking a shit and lighting it on fire in a dumpster.
I was thinking that was more like after Taco Bell diarrhea, but
oh boy, that's
look at this one. We got to bring this one on here.
Nice.
I get on the good side.
How dare you come on the podcast and tell lies, but still.
Beautiful. I'm a beautiful man. What can I say?
Jesus Christ. The ways we end this show some days, I don't know, guys. I got to tell you, I just don't know.
We go out on a high note. Timeless.
If you want to call that a high note, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
On that high note, that concludes NFL Week 4 game previews of the AFC home games. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you for watching Rat Pack Fantasy Football. Take care, and we will see you Sunday morning live from noon till kickoff for sit start and more of people calling Jesse, what do you call him, handsome?
Yeah, and smart too. I'm an educated man. Don't leave that out.
I couldn't say that one with a straight face. So, thanks everyone. Take care.